Greetings, Abraham. I am very grateful for your presence in creation and all that you've done to help make life better everywhere.
We like it when you remember who you are.
The question is, what you said about how you were so right on about wanting to be an example and you want people to come with you because it's more fun. It's more fun to have more around you that are aligned. And you know how when someone says something and you go, well, that's not exactly the truth. What you're saying, you're saying this, but this is what you're really feeling. Because you can tell when they're aligned with, when you
can tell when someone has made up their mind to the point that they can't possibly hear what you have to say in the moment. Yes.
Right. And they believe they think they believe what they're feeling, but they're not really being honest with what they're feeling. Okay, so you can see down the path energetically where it's leading. You can see the path they're on.
And where is it leading?
Usually to what they're not wanting. When they're not aligned. Okay, and so you want to be a positive influence without being pushy, and you want to...
We don't mind being pushy.
You do a good job at it, too. It's fun. But you want to allow them the opportunity to co-create for themselves, and yet you do want to guide as much as you can. When they make a decision, you honor it. You don't hold any grudges or whatever, but you see the big pit they're going to fall in. And in it, I have to tell you the truth, it sears me sometimes. It hurts me so bad to watch that they're going to get hit by a car and end up in a hospital or something. It hurts. I have to allow it. I try to make myself feel good by saying it's their choice.
But you see, the reason that it's hurting you is because you are in that moment of being hurt. You're allowing what you perceive to be their path, which is different than what you want to perceive to be their path, be what you're looking at. In other words, you can look at someone and call them headed down the wrong path. And let's compare it to these two journeys that are running together. Okay. You can see the action of what they're doing, which makes you say, oh, I've seen that before and I know how that usually ends. But concurrent with that observation of the action journey, you've got this emotional journey going on within you, which means you can anticipate bad things for them, which will hurt you. Or you can anticipate things getting better for them, which will soothe you.
And simultaneously both happen. Usually even disaster leads to blessings because they come aligned and then they move forward. So there's usually that, you can focus on...
Well, that's beside the point. In other words, of course, we talked about that earlier. You want to make the best of it, and so in the middle of the disaster, of course, a rocket of desire goes off. But the thing that we're wanting to talk to you about is when I see things that hurt me, what am I supposed to do with that? And we say, it's up to you to put yourself in a place that you're not hurtable. And that's what makes you a powerful teacher. That's what makes Jesus able to heal. He did not allow himself to be convinced by you that you were sick.
And how do you do this? How do you make yourself unhurtable and still be sensitive and open?
Well, you can't. You can't be sensitive and open to every thought that could be whizzing through your atmosphere. You got to tune yourself to the things that feel good when you tune to them. You got to train your tuner so that that's predominantly what you pick up. So when you see someone struggling, you don't feel the pain of their struggle. You feel the exhilaration of their effort. You don't feel the pain of their being misguided. You feel the well-being of knowing that everybody's the creator of their own reality. You don't feel the pain of anticipating it turning out negatively. You feel the pleasure of anticipating it turning out positively. In other words, you use the power of your mind and you don't hold them responsible for the way you feel. You want so much to feel good that you orient yourself every chance you get to that which does feel good. You give so many people the benefit of the doubt that nobody who would treat you wrong can even get into your experience because your vibration is so different from that, you see. So someone is here and they're feeling pretty good in a vibration of appreciation. When you feel appreciation or joy, you're in this vibration that really feels like empowerment. When you're in this place of depression or strong discouragement or fear, you're in this place of feeling or perceiving a lack of freedom. So every emotion from that joy or ecstasy, passion, appreciation, love, all the way vibrationally down the scale to that despair, these emotions are all about the perception of freedom or lack of it. In other words, every bit of resistance is about a perceived lack of freedom. Every bit of it. And every bit that you would call positive emotion is about an increasing perception of your absolute freedom. So here you are vibrating in this place of joy. You're practicing it. You're doing rampages of appreciation. You're looking for reasons to feel good. You're pivoting as often as you can. In other words, you've been playing with all of the tools and processes, and you're holding yourself pretty consistently in this good feeling place. And concurrently with this emotional journey that you've learned to take, where you're feeling pretty darn good, is another journey that you picked up along your physical trail that was enhanced by things that other people said to you, which is, I'm a teacher, or I'm a healer. I'm someone who deliberately wants to uplift. So now this action part of you sees someone in trouble. And this action part of you then wants to find a way to bring this person who's in despair, or who's in fear, or who's in some sort of agony. Maybe they've even got full-blown something happening in their experience. So now your desire is to bring them from this life experience of tragedy, the action journey, into a place where they're living happily ever after. But you've got to consider the emotional journeys that are running concurrently. You've got to consider the emotional basis or the point of attraction that's happening in both of you before you can understand the dynamics of your co-creation. So then you say, well, here I am, I'm in this joyful place, and here they are in that place of despair. I want to bring them to this place of joy. And we say, it cannot happen all at once. The vibrational frequencies are very, very different. So then when you say, well, what do you do when you're a sensitive person who's empathetic to the vibration or sensitive to the vibration of where someone is? What do you do? And we say, you hold your ground, you stay where you are, you avert your eyes, you turn the other cheek, you're doing everything and anything that you can to maintain your vibration. And then the teacher in you says, well, Abraham, what kind of a teacher is that? I'm just up here beating the drum of my happy, good feeling life, and they're down there in misery. I haven't been much of a good Samaritan. Don't I need to go down there with them? Don't I need to understand them a little more? Don't I need to be sensitive and empathetic? Don't I need to understand them and talk to them? And we say, yes, but they can't hear you. You can't be feeling like this with them feeling like that and them hear what you have to say. You'll just irritate them. So the only option that you have of connecting with them is they've got to raise their vibration so they can hear you, or you've got to lower your vibration so that you can hear them. And we're wanting to say that the teacher in you never lowers your vibration, because when you lower your vibration, you have nothing to give them, you see. Mm-hmm. There are many teachers that are along the path of your friend that will help them, and they'll find one that will lead them here, and they'll find them one that will lead them here, and they'll find them one that will lead them here. And then law of attraction will bring them to you, just like law of attraction brought them to everyone else. And then you say, yes, but Abraham, they're in my life. How do I know that law of attraction didn't bring them to me? And we say, if you're following your emotional journey and they're there, law of attraction did bring them. But if you're out on this action journey where you're just looking for everything that's wrong on the planet and bringing it to yourself and then trying to fix it, it's the action journey. It's not the emotional journey. And law of attraction didn't bring it. Your feeling of commitment brought it, you see. And there's a big difference. That was good. So you're not turning your back on others, being your joyful self, you see. You're not turning your back. You're showing through the clarity of your example what it's like to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And of course, anybody who asks, you will tell them everything you can give them. But you will not try to answer questions that have not been asked, because it's like pushing a noodle. In other words, nobody has fun in that.
Well, so are you telling me the bottom line is that the party is inevitable eventually? That there will be a party in the end?
We are, but this gathering is about understanding that the party is now, the party is now, the party is now. Right. And the party is now whether you come or not. The party is now whether you understand that I'm having a party or not. The party is now because I'm connected to the party. The party is now because all of my power is in the now, and I choose to focus in the now in ways that make me feel good, whether I'm thinking about past, present, or future. The party is up to me. And the party that you're describing, that good feeling place that I want to be, is all about my maintenance of my connection of the energy with my source every single time. Yes, very good.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. You are an extension of that which is source. Some call it God, some call it energy, some call it consciousness. It does not matter what you call it. You will never be apart from it. It will always flow to you and through you. But you have powerful control about how much of it you let in any moment in time, and how much of it you deprive yourself of. And when you let it in, you thrive. When you let it in, you're clear-minded, you're sure-footed, you feel good. Life is wonderful. You breathe deeply. Everything feels good. Everywhere you go, you find things that are interesting, fascinating, provocative, good feeling. And when you are not allowing your connection to the stream, you feel defensive, you feel afraid, you feel unsure, you feel unworthy, you feel anger, you feel depressed, you feel overwhelmed, you feel frustrated. There's a myriad of emotions all up and down this emotional scale. This glorious guidance system within you, letting you know in every moment how well connected to your link spot in the sky you are. It is our powerful desire that when you leave this gathering today, that you never again question your value or your worthiness, and that you let your questioning be about, what do I prefer, this or this? Would I rather love this person or hate this person? Let's see, which feels best to me? Esther came to an astonishing and startling revelation about herself not long ago, when she found herself on the opposite end of a decision. She thought one way and Jerry thought another way about something not very important. It was the methodology for hooking up the tow car to the monster bus. And Esther always yields to Jerry because she would much rather that he turns out to be wrong than she does. And as she was walking the length of the rig, about 67 feet, as she was walking to get back into the driver's seat of the monster bus, to pull it forward, to make sure that everything had locked in just right, she heard herself think and laughed and nearly fell over as she got into the coach as she heard her own thought. She thought, I hope it doesn't go well. And then she thought, Abraham, I'm in great trouble here because I would rather be right than have things go well. And that is the reason that so many of you do not trust your own decision. Somebody's convinced you that it's important that you make the right decision. And so you want to take a consensus. What does everybody think? Because, you wouldn't want to make the wrong decision because somehow you've decided that you must be going to be judged on how many times you were right or how many times your partner was wrong. And we want you to understand that when you decide that you're going to look for the truth so that you can line up with the truth, you're going to have a hard time of figuring it out because anything that anybody focuses on for very long, they activate in their vibration and they make it a reality which you call a factual truth. So when you see this stuff that you do not want and you say, well, I cannot ignore it because it's true, what you're saying is someone else, for whatever unknown reason, gave their attention to it long enough that it became active in their vibration, long enough that it became a dominant vibration within them, that it manifested in their experience and became a fact or evidence, and because they did that unwanted thing to themselves, I should do it too. And we say, when you finally get it, that nothing is more important than that you feel good, and you will feel much better when you are not trying to make yourself right and somebody else wrong, but you are looking for the well-being of all. In other words, you're looking for the well-being, you're looking for the connection. Life becomes so simple. Of course, Esther would much rather love Jerry than be mad at him, and she mostly does. And she would much rather honor him than disrespect him, and she mostly does. But when push comes to shove, if it's her righteousness above his, she wants to choose hers. And we want to say to you, that contest doesn't exist. You are not in competition for the resources of well-being. The resources are there for all of you, you see. And when you finally get it, that there is no competition, then maybe you'll let go of your grip on needing to be right. And when you're willing to let go of your grip of needing to be right and you care more about connecting to source energy, now you are the uplifter that you came forth to be. Now life is good for you, you see. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. You have some things you want to talk about?